Sarah, who played Lily in this movie. Okay? She also played in Time Cop, Jack and the Beanstalk, and Ferris Bueller.
Lily. Okay. Now, what I'm going to show you here, all right, is a flower. But I want you to take notice of this flower, okay? Because realize it is somewhat of a 2D image. I think the genus of this plant is very relevant within this mystery and very relevant with what I just showed you when it comes to legend and lily. Now, what you're looking at here is the Red King Humbert Canna Lily, okay?
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Whispy Woodz. And this is Whispy Theories Q&A, part 6. Now, in my last episode, I brought up a lot of different relevancies to not only Steven Spielberg and E.T. and so on and so forth, but a lot of different connections that tie to lilies. Now, the reason why we are making ties to lily is not only for legend, but to understand who correlates within legend and why the assimilations are even existent. Now, the point, okay, the absolute point of making the connection there was to point out a genus of flower, and that was a lily. Now, the reason I'm showing this today is because in my last episode, a lot of people were actually, correcting me on the first thing that I actually said, and that was, I believe, that those flowers were Red King Humberts. Now, I want to applaud the few of you who actually caught that and realized that that was not true, and I really want to applaud the people who had that keen of an eye, because it was hard enough to not only find the flower that I found, but for you guys to know exactly which flower this was. I actually applaud several of you who made this correlation. Now, one thing I find very interesting is the fact that not only is this the exact flower that's in front of Michael's house, and we have made several, at least 1,000 connections to different birds. This plant is not only called the crane lily, as you see, it's known as birds of paradise. Okay, now that is extremely relevant in more ways than one, and I find it very interesting the fact that other people found this, not me. So it's apparent, you guys, that I'm not the only crazy one here making connections. Now, as for the rest of these Q&A questions, we will begin with some of the more sane ones, and then we'll get to a lot of the more chiliad mystery-based questions towards the middle and end. But in the beginning, I'm going to answer some of the more personal ones that people keep asking me, or at least try to figure out about. Now, before we get into this Q&A, there's something I really want to clarify, and that is a question from Grand Theft Auto Street Racing, okay? And he asks, do I think that Music Video is turning into Whispy Video? Now, what I believe he means by that is Music Video copying my video format, or at least what I do in a nutshell. Now, to be perfectly honest, I only implied other people to honestly see what I see. Now, if Vidiot sees what I see, then that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, as far as using some of the elements that I seem to use in my videos, I feel as though there's nothing wrong with those hunters who have, seen a lot of my process and only understood that not only does it work, but it honestly is there to help you. I feel as though some things get misconstrued, and I feel as though some of these elements that I use only get misused when they're not used in the right way. And this is something that I even tried to explain to Music Video at the time, whereas he possibly thought I was slowing things down just to slow things down. I was using it, and I've explained this before, for a specific reason, and it's no more than that. The fact is that when things go misunderstood, though, they only become more and more misunderstood. So for the clarification, no, I don't feel as though he's becoming me, but I do feel as though he's becoming his own self, and he's learning along the way. And that only comes natural with speed bumps.
Okay, so first personal question comes from my boy BJ Lava. And he asks, if I had a chance to get an answer to any question that I like, which question would it be to crack the mystery? Now, really, I don't necessarily have a question as to what cracks the mystery. I kind of at least know the pattern. It's just a long pattern. That's kind of the factor here. But personally, if I had to get any answer to any question that has ever been in this mystery,
it would be me asking Rockstar why the fuck is this bitch not this bitch. Now, if you're confused as to what I'm talking about, Denise Robinson, okay, was one of CJ's, okay, Carl Johnson's first motherfucking girlfriend, okay? And she was a prostitute right next to Grove Street. And she was a big part of not only the hot coffee mod, but a big part of the entire game. And I mean it, you guys, like, but I just don't understand why the fuck they bring so much correlation, okay, to a completely different woman, and they only have one, and I mean it, you guys, they only have one bit of evidence in this entire game that shows that this could be the same woman. On her Life Invader page, Denise posts, "No wonder I never get a second date with that boy. Walking in every time I have a man over for coffee." Okay, so I want you guys to realize this is a reference to hot coffee. But why the fuck are they trying to act like this bitch is different? I don't get it. That's the one thing I really don't get. Because there are several things about her that do not add up. It really doesn't. Now, that would be going into a completely different theory as to why she is even related to Franklin and so on and so forth, and even related to CJ. But when it really comes down to it, that is the one question I want answered. Why the fuck is Rockstar acting like this bitch is not this bitch? I just don't get it.
Now, the second personal question I have here is from my boy T Jizzle. He asks, do I think Rockstar expected a group of mystery hunters to not only try and solve the mystery, but even discover the clues that they didn't want us to know? In other words, when they made the statement, certain things cannot be found in the game because they were too hard to understand or even find, do I think they really mean that, and even now still think we won't solve the mystery? Now, if you're asking, do I believe that they would have even realized that we were going to form a community to do all of this and so on and so forth, personally, no, I don't think that they think we would have done it. But I think they implied it in so many ways, whether it was literally with Ron being a conspiracy theorist or even several different conspiracy theories being tied to this mystery. I mean, them bringing up Illuminati alone, I mean, we have to realize Illuminati at this point within our civilization as people, you know, let's be honest, the Illuminati is pop culture. It is. It's not necessarily a topic that people even realize it was centuries ago. So now realizing that, they kind of threw Illuminati in your face so that you can understand at least the bare minimum, which is that it is going to take a grasp of conspiracy thought. But at the end of the day, do they still think that we will not solve the mystery? Honestly, I feel as though they want us to. They want us to at least prove that a certain few are not as stupid as they think we are. And I think through proving this, it's not only just a test upon our literal psyche, but it's a test of journeys and a test of, are we willing to sacrifice certain things in order to get what we want, and even understand certain things to get what we want. It's all within universal understanding and literal path taking. Now, the third question comes from my boy Keith Hardling. This was a very interesting question, and it actually got me thinking about a few things, but there's something I'm going to show which could possibly link a bit of this to make some sense. Now, I'm not saying that this in particular, okay, is an Easter egg or that it's something that was intentionally put in the game, but what I'm going to say is that for some reason, you guys,
what he says here makes a little bit of sense. He asks, do I think that it's a coincidence that we can get bicycles to fly like ET and travel across the whole map in the sky? Now, this was very interesting because I actually forgot about this glitch, you guys, but you know what's pretty interesting about this glitch, aside from the fact that, yes, ET is about a young boy who flies a bike with an alien? We need to really realize that right after we get touched by that magic finger, by that alien, assimilating an ET type of feeling, there's something that happens and or that we find right after that scene.
Jimmy, you little shit.
Now, as you clearly see, the first and pretty much only vehicle that's available, okay, at the moment that you complete this sequence of the mission, that is the most implied vehicle, is this bike. Now, why would it go from aliens to a bike? Let's think about it. Next personal question here is from my boy Kyle Sullivan, and he asks, are you an alien? Well, I ask you, what is an alien? Is it a being that transcends from any other outside realm to this world that we know it? Or is it a subconscious or even physical being that we know to be called extraterrestrial? Or is it even an angel? Is it a guardian, or is it something you can even touch with your hands? Is it something that we know that has antennas or green skin? What is an alien? Is it a person that we deem as illegal or even outside of a known place that we are inhabiting? What is an alien? It could be all of those things, or it could be none of them. The fact of the matter here is that in some way, shape, or form, because of duality, we are all aliens. And to be perfectly honest, all of those assumptions of what an alien are just perceptions. So, are we really human beings? Is that the real question? Or is this all perception? Now, moving along from some of the more opinionated questions here, my boy Alan O here asks, was the hot coffee meant to be an unlockable Easter egg? I know PC modders found it, but do you think that there were steps in San Andreas to unlock it legit? Honest to God, bro, I really could not tell you because times have kind of changed. I mean, we obviously discovered it before it could possibly even be an Easter egg. If there was a legit way in order to unlock it, then I believe it would have been found by now. That's not to say that there is not, okay? Hear me when I say that. Personally, I do not know. But if we're going purely based on fact, I believe that the level was supposed to be integrated into the game as a normal part of a mission. And when it was developed, they did not want to push the rating into an adults only rating, and that's one reason why they completely hid the files from the game embedded inside the code. And that's why, you know, a big portion of the community didn't hear about it until modders started fucking with the coding. So when it really comes down to it, to answer your question, I believe that it was intended to be in the game regardless, and I don't think it was going to be an Easter egg, but I believe it was going to be something bigger that they were trying to ambitiously create, but, you know, because of controversy and because of people's perception and how they deem sexual innuendos, they don't necessarily look at dualities, and they look at things as just perverted, and they don't see a lot of the deeper meanings behind art and a lot of the things that Rockstar does. Now, the next mystery-based question here is from my boy Aaron Perkins, who asks, do I think Rockstar would add a hoverboard instead of a jetpack? And this is referring back to a Confirming Triggers video where I referenced the Back to the Future hoverboards and why it could possibly be correlated to the bottom panel of the texture squares that we found within the characters. Now, what I feel, okay, is that we cannot exclude the possibility. We can truly not exclude that possibility. We have to welcome it with open arms because it can only give us more directive as to not only what we're looking for, but as to new possibilities as to gain what we're looking for. Now, aside from those clues leading to not just a hoverboard, I want people to understand, okay? There is a fucking jetpack in the game, okay? And I'm not kidding. I'm going to just briefly show you, and I'm not kidding. I'm going to show you a brief, very brief fucking clue that has been in front of our face from day one and will always be in front of our face because this is part of, once again, wordplay and how they do things. Something as small as a monkey, and I mean it, you guys, a monkey can be staring right in front of your face and a million people will be asking, why is there no jetpack clues? How come there's only a jetpack man and there's no jetpack clues? You guys, the monkey was the first jetpack clue.
New friend for everyone. He gets in lots of trouble because he's got springs for legs. Pogo the Monkey, the best new video game for the whole family.
I love you, Pogo. You bounce.
Help Pogo escape from the evil research laboratory where the mean old scientist genetically altered him. Uh-oh, the pharmaceutical scientist is going to get you, Pogo.
Now, I want you guys to really have an open mind as to what I'm going to show you here. The Humane Labs, okay? I want you to think about this. Inside the Humane Labs and research facility are the monkeys, okay? And they are all in cages and appear to be in a severely agitated state, possibly suffering from the effects of animal testing.
Help Pogo escape from the evil research laboratory where the mean old scientist genetically altered him.
So, understand we have monkeys tied to not only Pogo, but to pharmaceutical testing. This is the same clue here, and it ultimately ties to a Pogo. Now, once again, you guys, source material, the Liberty Bell, okay, within Cluckin' Bell Farms. The Liberty Bell not only resides within Philadelphia, but ties within Delphi and Apollo, the god of the sun. Now we have the connective clue, a jetpack, but it's tied to a bell. But realize, you guys, once again, the monkey was the first clue to why jetpacks have always been relevant in this mystery, regardless of how we looked at it. See, a Bell rocket pack or a Bell pogo, okay? A pogo. I want you guys to realize exactly why we're even looking at these clues once again. A pogo stick, you guys. A fucking pogo stick jetpack, alright? Now, once again, you guys, I want you to realize exactly how we got here. A segregation of a clue hidden within a name. Pogo, you guys. Pogo the monkey. So, to completely answer your question, when it really comes down to it, hoverboard or no hoverboard, just know that GTA 5 has literally been screaming jetpack at us for the last 3 years. Question comes from my boy Q&A Woodz. Now, his question is very interesting, you guys. It's basically asking, what are we learning from all of this? Literally hunting for the truth, deeper clues, wordplay, so on and so forth. You know, what can we actually benefit from learning all of this? Now, I really understand your question. I even understand your confusion. I understand it 100%. I understand a lot of people's confusion towards my process and a lot of things that we have brought up on the channel and why they even correlate together and so on and so forth. What are we even doing here? what I want people to do is have an open mind for the end and how it does actually fall in place, because there are several things. Once again, this mystery is not bound by one answer, which is why we follow different paths and we honestly come at this with an open thought process. The fact of the matter here is that when you solve, and this is no joke, when you solve a Rubik's Cube, for example, you're not literally solving one side, then one side, then one side, and then complete. It's not like that. If you've ever completed a Rubik's Cube, you actually have to mess up a side and or rearrange a side in order to complete a side. So when we see certain truths like religious views and certain things that lead to apocalypse and all of the things that we've known to be within the game that have to do with holy grails and even Saint Michael, those things are still all correlated within universal clues, but all matched within a bigger source of a reward. And it's no different than looking at Back to the Future and time travel and so on and so forth, and how it can correlate with different aspects of the same thought, whether teleportation or even the thoughts of looking in the past. These elements were to be taken in so many different ways that if we did not look at them openly or with duality, then we would only be looking at one truth. And we need to realize that Christopher Maj once again says in the beginning that we are being lied to, which is why we need to choose his lies, thus lying in a lake of truth. Now, the point, okay, once again, within word plays and so on and so forth, we gained word plays along the way. That was from understanding a philosopher, Da Vinci, okay? Understanding the philosophies came from understanding a clue, once again, within the Epsilon Tract. And the Epsilon Tract was one of our biggest clues in the mystery. And it's been one of our biggest clues within literally them giving us answers. When it really comes down to it, these word plays and universal clues, I've already told you guys, Rockstar did not invent this, okay? They're just using something that is way deeper than them and way deeper than their product. When I say that, honest to God, you guys, half of this mystery should not have been inside of a video game, I mean it. If I revealed a big part of what this mystery was really showing, a big part of the community would either shut me out, call me crazy, or an even bigger part of the community would know that I'm telling the truth, and they would probably burn their fucking game. But that's for another topic. When it really comes down to it, there are physical items in the game that you guys want and that are held by learning a process of clues and understanding those clues fully, not at the first answer.
Now, here's a good example of what I mean by realizing when a clue is right in front of your face, okay, seeing the first form of it and not going deeper, okay, only to miss a deeper clue, all right? I had an episode a while back called Purple, Blue, Cyan, Red, Gold, and Green. Now, not only was I showing a mirrored, okay, image within these colors and why they're correlated from blue to gold and why they relate right back into God and a lot of the different ideals within the mystery, but one thing that I was showing here was a choice, okay? You had a choice to look at what I was showing you as just simple physical correlations to not only blue and gold, but why these different ideals actually linked up. Or, okay, or you can understand a deeper thing that I was showing you, a deeper clue. This issue, okay, this issue of X-Men, okay, is of the original series. And the reason why I showed it specifically in that episode was to give an ideal of something that I was going to bring up later on, and for you guys to understand exactly why it's relevant within universal clues, okay? Issue number 11, okay, of X-Men, all right, introduces an appearance of a character called the Stranger, all right? Now, I want you to realize I brought up a stranger before and why it ties to a mustache, okay? And now what we're looking at here is the strange man and or the devil, okay? Death and mysterious stranger, okay? It's pretty interesting that throughout fame, you get fame throughout killing people, okay? And helping strangers. That's pretty interesting. Aside from that is some very interesting things about this man, and that is his handlebar mustache. Now,
so realize, you guys, these clues, all right, that I am even giving you, all right, are just choices as to go deeper or to be satisfied with the first answer that you see, all right? If I showed you the cover of a book, are you going to open it, or are you going to just be fascinated as to what the cover shows you? It's no different. Now, realize something here. Purple, Blue, and Cyan actually showed a musical song within this episode, all right? Now, this episode showed a song called Pharaohs, and I want you to understand why Pharaohs was relevant in more ways than one.
Capacity, lung capacity, and it's tied to being underwater and practicing yoga.
I always thought I was the good guy. I got a bit of an awkward situation.
You ruined my life.
You are nothing but a murdering, cheating hypocrite.
You took a wrong turn along the way back.
It's like I'm two different people.
You're out there doing God only knows what.
A killer, a thief, a liar.
You're not a well-mannered.
It's my dad.
You should have kept some for yourself. It's easier to see in retrospect what I could have done to help.
You have ruined my serenity yet again.
You only get one life to get it right. You only get one life to live.
I always thought I was the good guy.
Now you can't keep